and welcome to a Flow with Lydia practice. Today we're doing a bedtime flow, which will be really helpful for feelings of stress and anxiety, or just if you're struggling to get to sleep. So really lovely and grounding practice for any time of day, but especially before bed. And what you'll need today, or what I'd recommend, is we're going to start using some oils. So I have a lavender oil here. If you don't have any oils, then you can use maybe just some moisturiser, just something really calming and soothing. And if you don't have any of that, then that is also fine. But maybe grab some oils and some socks, maybe some more fun socks or comfy socks than these sparkly ones. And then a bolster might be useful for later in the practice. So maybe just pausing the video, finding those little bits, and then we'll get started. So we're going to begin by massaging the feet. So if you have your socks on, maybe just pop them to the side. Grab your oil or your moisturiser, anything that you have. Just putting a few drops into the hands. Rubbing the hands together, just warming up that oil. If you have lavender, it's really calming, very soothing before bed. So maybe just rubbing those hands together. Warming up the oil, taking that really lovely inhale, and then we'll begin by just giving the feet a nice massage. Bringing the pads of the feet, bring the pads of the thumbs to the feet, and just really rubbing into this space. Making the toes feel a little warmer, give them a little energy, a little squeeze. Giving yourself a little bit of love. And in the Chinese medicine theory and understanding, our feet are connected to the whole body. And a lot of the meridian lines, the energy lines, begin in the feet. So really warming up this space. And then we're going to activate kidney 1, which is where the kidney meridian line begins. And so if we just find that space between the big toe and the little toe and go over the mound, we're just going to hold into this space. Maybe bringing some fingers, a couple of fingers, pressing into that space, so it's going to feel a little bit tender. So finding that space and then just maybe wiggling back and forward, or just applying a nice little bit of pressure. Maybe closing down the eyes. Softening the face, the shoulders. And the kidneys are associated with our growth. They're our energy source, our essence, inherited from our parents, but also nourished by our lifestyle, our diet, how we sleep, how much we party. So it's a really good meridian line to activate. Mostly in our Western world, we are a little bit kidney depleted, eating too much greasy or food or dairy food or spicy food, but also overworking. So our essence, our energy source of the kidneys is a little depleted. And that's often why when we stop maybe taking a break on the weekend, or dare I say a holiday, suddenly we get quite sick. Finally, when the body stops, it realizes there's no reserves, there's no money left in the bank account of the kidneys. And then just releasing that pressure point, giving the feet a nice little massage, and just taking the top of the foot and the middle of the foot and just moving the bones around. So there's 26 bones in the feet, so it's really allowing a bit of activation. And the kidneys are also very grounding, a yin energy. And if we're feeling stress or anxiety, it's a lot of yang energy, rising, raising, going to the head. So by grounding with the feet, activating the kidney meridian line, then we're bringing all of that back down. So releasing the foot and just putting on the socks. Just keeping all that lovely oil, that lovely moisture in the body. And also if you're about to go to bed, you don't want to get all of your lavender oil on your sheets. And then we'll take that to the other side, so getting your oils or your greens, warming it up in the hands and then coming to the other side. So getting into the edges of the feet, into the heel. No right or wrong here, just activating all of the parts of the feet. And if you've been to a reflexologist, you'll know that every part of the foot is connected to a different organ in a different part of the foot. So whatever you're pressing, you're starting to stimulate those parts of the body. And just allow the breath to flow a little slower here. So slowing down inhales and the exhales. And the stomach and the spleen and the body is sort of in the center part here. So you may feel a little bit of tenderness there. I know I do. Especially if you're dealing with anxiety and digestive issues, you may notice certain parts of the feet feel more tender. And then we'll take that kidney 1 position, coming over the mound of the foot and just digging in there. And then closing down the eyes, putting some pressure into that spot. May feel quite tender, but allow the rest of the body to be at ease. And when we're grounding, we're just allowing there to be more ease in the body. And the last few months, the last year has shown us that there is a lot of stress in the external world. And when we can't change the external world, can we instead learn to change from within? Adapt our internal world to find more ease, even if there's stress and chaos surrounding us. And the kidney is a really nice meridian line to work for that. And it's partnered with the urinary bladder, running along the back line of the body. And this is the only meridian line that dips into the brain. So really nice for hormonal balancing as well. Last 2 breaths. Nice. And then releasing, maybe just massaging out that space, releasing any tension. And then we'll just take those little twists with the foot, waking up those bones, maybe even clasping the hands in between the toes and just waking up that space. Nice, and then again, covering that foot up with a sock. And just moving your oils to the side. And then coming to a comfortable seated position. Maybe if you have a block or a little pillow, you could prep that underneath your sitting bones, just to raise the hips up a little higher, a little bit more space in the hips, in the thighs. We'll just be here for a few moments, but it's just a little nicer to be a little more comfortable. Allow the palms to face down for a little more grounding. Feel this really lovely lift in the spine, just a gentle tucking in the lower belly. Crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. And then rolling the shoulders up to the ears and then all the way back down the spine. Just a slight openness across the chest. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Fingertips coming together. Coming into a little Kali Mudra, pressing to the sky, finding length in the side body. And then allowing left hand to come down to the side, right arm reaching up. And then as you exhale, right hand reaching over towards the left side. Feeling that lovely openness all the way from the right hip to the tips of the fingertips. Pressing that right hip down to the floor. Inhale, reaching back up. Right hand comes down, left fingertips reach up. Exhale, finding the length. Notice if the shoulders are up to the ears, if there's a little space and it's all scrunched, can we find a little more openness? Imagine as if you're reaching for your favourite bedtime snack. Reaching with that hand, open and over. Inhale, let's do that one more time. Inhale, right hand reaches up and over. Maybe if there's a little more space coming down to the forearm of the left hand. Maybe if you're on a block, there's not enough space to do that. Just tuning in. And then last time, the other side, right hand down, left arm up. And over. Maybe there's a little more space on this side to come down to the forearm. And back to center, rolling those shoulders up and back. And then just allowing the chest to come in huge circles. So moving from the rib cage here. Chest presses forward to the side, to the back, a little rounding. And then it continues just like this. Imagine your body as a spoon in your favorite jar of nut butter, or your favorite cup of tea. Just scraping the sides. Feeling into every crease and crack. There can be a lot of tension in this area, especially the shoulders. If we're stressed and tight, we scrunch the shoulders up. Moving the other way if you haven't already. Eyes closed. And then our connective tissue, the fascia, melds and welds into this space. Layers and layers of fascia. And the body begins to think that this is the new form of the body. So our natural stance is a little hunched, a little crooked, a little asymmetrical, as these layers of tissues build up and recreate the stance of your body. And coming back to center, bring the hands just behind you, fingertips facing back. Inhale to lift the heart space, scooping the lower belly, shoulder blades pressing together. And then inhale, fingertips come all the way forward, coming up to the fingertips, pressing into the back, pressing into the shoulder blades. Chin comes to chest, nice rounding here. And then all the way up, releasing any blocks or props underneath the bum. And then rolling over to the all fours. Shoulders over wrists, hips over your knees. Fingertips are spread out wide as if you're about to draw around. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart. Exhale to round, finding your cat-cow. Take that twice more. Belly lifts, heart lifts. Exhale to round, really feeling into that space. And our kidneys are anatomically within the lower back, but also if we have a kidney chi disharmony or dysfunction, we tend to have a lot of lower back pain. So while we're moving here, wriggling, finding circles and space, notice if there's any tenderness in the lower back. If there's any discomfort in the pelvis and the lower abdomen. Allow the breath to flow really nice and strongly, filling that lower belly. 3 more breaths here. Eyes remaining closed. Just exploring your body. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. Just your breath and the sensations. And then finding that place of stability in your all fours. Pressing into the hands, a slight lift in the shoulders, tucking of the lower belly. And then curl the toes under. Sitting back just for a moment, just open up those feet once more. 2 more breaths. And then sending the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Really nice. Maybe a sigh escapes the lips, maybe a little bubbling. Maybe walking out the dog, bending into one leg and straightening the other, and the other side. Maybe the heels come to one side, toes to the other, finding length in the side body. Really explore this shape with a sense of curiosity, rather than coming to an autopilot of where you normally go. Waking those feet up, pressing into all four corners, pressing into the ball of the foot, the heel of the foot. Maybe the heels are lifted, a slight bend in the knees. And then gaze comes forward, looking to pigeon the feet all the way to the hands, taking tiny little steps. And you take this really slowly until you meet the hands. When you get here, chest is melting onto your thighs like butter melting on toast. Bending your knees as much as you need to be here. Maybe taking hold of opposite elbows, ragdoll, swaying side to side, or taking their hands, clasping them behind the head, elbows coming in towards the knees, finding length in the back of the neck. I find this really lovely opening in my lower back as well. Back line of the body, very grounding and calming for our kidney and urinary bladder meridian lines. Breath is soft and smooth. 2 more breaths wherever you are. And then releasing any sort of bind that you have. Left hand comes to the mat, bending the left knee, straightening the right, peeling the right fingertips up towards the sky. And really press that right shoulder blade to the left side of the room, finding space and length. Exhale, right hand comes down, replacing the left, bending the right knee, straightening the left leg, reaching up with the left fingertips. Bending the knees as much as you need to here. Finding that openness and that twist through. Exhale, folding forward, both hands to the floor, bending the knees. And then really explore here to roll all the way up. Rather than coming up as you always do, can you sway? Can you bring the arms in? Can you allow this to be a really fluid and open movement? Rolling up in a way that you haven't done before. Maybe a little swaying and bouncing with the upper body. Whatever feels nice for you and your energy. And then you'll make it all the way to standing. Rolling the shoulders long and back down the body. A little scooping of that lower belly. Tailbone pressing down. Palms facing forward. Grounding down into those feet. Left hand to your heart, right hand to your belly. Gap between your back teeth. Can you imagine that your feet are like the roots of a tree, grounding down, connecting you to the earth? Any energy that is not serving you, that's creating anxiety or stress, can you feel it grounding down to the feet, growing into the earth, leaving your body? Your breath flowing into the lower belly, right hand falling and rising. And you feel into the heartbeat with that left hand. Tuning into your body. And with your right hand on your lower body, I like to imagine the gut, the belly is almost like a little TARDIS. It's so small, but it opens up and affects the whole body. So when we come into this place of hands on the belly and the heart. We're tuning into that space, tuning into our little TARDIS. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up, fingers reach and touch. Exhale, melt the body forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling up, stacking vertebra on top of vertebra. Inhale, hands rise, and then turning the toes out to face the corners of your mat. Hands to heart center, sinking the bum down to your heels, your inner yogi squat. Elbows are pressing the knees out, knees tracking over your ankles. Length and lift in the spine. Maybe the heels are lifted, be wherever you need to be. And then the right hand coming to the outside of the right knee, peeling that left hand to the sky. Finding that openness across the chest. Shoulder blades pressing into spine. Finding center, take a breath here. And then left hand reaches out to the left hand side, right hand peeling up and open. Notice if that right knee is leaning in towards center, pressing the right knee out, tracking over the ankle, coming back to center. And then hands coming forward, maybe gently with a little bit of grace, find your way onto your bum. Momentary boat pose if you feel like it. And then pads of the feet come together. Knees are out wide. Maybe just take a few breaths here, pressing into that kidney 1 meridian line. Feeling the energy come down. And then option to bring a little block underneath the bum here. We're going to come into a forward fold. Finding length in the spine. Exhale, begin to fold forward. And then notice how much space there is between the head and the feet. And then bringing your props into play just to support that space. And then the head will just gently rest onto any props that you have. Maybe you're up quite high, maybe you're a little lower. It doesn't matter what the shape looks like, rather the sensations. Feeling that lovely opening on the inside line of the thighs into that lower back. Activating kidney and urinary bladder here. Maybe this is a little bit discomfort. Or uncomfortable, I should say. Allow the breath to be slow and at ease. Know that you have the tools to weather this moment of discomfort. And if you can weather this feeling on the mat, you can also weather feelings of discomfort outside of the mat, outside of the room, the house. Healing from within. Tools for life. 3 more breaths here. And when your 3rd breath comes to close, gently rolling all the way up. Bring the knees up towards the sky, hands behind you, and just gently windscreen wiping the knees from side to side, opening up that hip space. And then for our next pose, there's 2 options here. So the first option is just to come and bring the legs up the wall. So an inch or so between your bottom and the floor. And then the heels will just rest there. If you don't have a wall available, or maybe you don't want to get it a little grubby, then this is the next option. Or if you have your bed nearby, maybe lying on your bed with your legs up the wall is also lovely. If you have a block or a pillow, the second option here, we're just going to lift the hips, place whatever prop you have just underneath the sacrum, and then the leg should quite comfortably just reach up towards the sky. So finding that space of comfort for you. No need to rush. Allow the shoulders to ground into the mat. Find a softness between the eyebrows, a gap between the back teeth. And we're just going to move through a few more kidney points before coming to stillness. So staying in your legs up the wall or legs to the ceiling. And we're going to bring our fingers or our thumb to that space just underneath the collarbone and between on top of the first rib. And it should feel quite tender. It definitely does for me. So you have the collarbone here and just that space between the collarbone and the first rib. So these are really calming points for the kidney. Really grounding, and that you can use these points anytime in the day. And not only do these points release the muscular tension, so if you're exercising or just lifting a lot, you may feel physical tension here. Releasing the muscles around the ribs is also going to make it a little easier to really fill the lungs. But this point is called the walking out. Well, it's called walking out of on the veranda. This sense of being able to find freedom to release. Even though we feel a little trapped right now, this point allows you to find a little calm, to find freedom in the physical body, in the mental mind. And then moving down to the next space between the first rib and the second rib. And just putting both of the thumbs in that space. Using that breath. Quite strong for me. Just allow the face to be soft. Just focusing on the breath, on this feeling of grounding, calming. And then we'll move to the last one of this space. So just between the second and the third rib. So just around the breastbone here. Maybe even using the second and third finger or the thumb. And this point is the resurrection point, helping us release from the doom and gloom. I'm sure we've all had moments in the past few months of feeling a little down, a little trapped and deflated. This point is really nice just to move us out of this place, find a bit more mental clarity, a little bit of an energizer. So alongside good sleep and a good, clean, healthy diet, these points and exercising these and opening these meridian lines are really going to help us impact our mental health, feelings of anxiety and stress. And that in turn helps our digestion, helps the functioning of all of our organs. 2 more breaths. Nice, and then releasing, moving yourself away from the wall or just lifting the hips and removing the block underneath the hips. The last thing we're going to do before Shavasana is just coming to lie on our left side of our body, making sure we have our props available. We're just going to have a block or a pillow just to support the head and then a pillow in between the thighs with the right leg resting on top, and then the right arm can just come to frame the face. Finding this really comfortable position, lying on our side in this fetal place, the place we first began life. And just releasing any restriction of the breath. Just allowing the natural breath to come back in. The left side of the body being the yin side, the grounding, cooling, more feminine energy, helping us ground away from the energy or the stress of life. Lying on the left side is also really nourishing and supportive to the digestive system. And I'm just going to leave you here for a minute or so in silence. So just enjoy this space. And if you feel comfortable, then staying here for Shavasana is a really lovely option. Otherwise, gently pressing yourself up and just moving that block or that pillow underneath the knees, so the calves just gently rest on top of the pillow, and then coming into Shavasana. And the hands can gently rest on the lower belly, or a more traditional Shavasana with the arms out wide, palms facing up towards the sky. Together, let's take 2 deep inhales. Fill the lower belly, the pelvis, all the way up the spine, into the ribs, the chest, the back of the body, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently exhale. Once more, really inhale, deepest breath you've taken. Inhale to fill the belly, the pelvis, the spine, the ribs, the chest, holding at the top. Opening the mouth. And allow the whole body just to sink into the earth beneath you. Whether that's your bed or your mats, wherever you are, gift yourself this stillness. And I'll be here to bring you back out in a moment's time. just bringing a little bit of breath back to the body. Allow the eyes to remain closed. And just noticing how this practice feels in the body. What sensations are arising for you. We must learn to see quiet as essential. It's not the absence of sound or life, but rather the source of where life grows. So come to silence often. Take time to come to stillness. And if you're in bed, maybe just staying here, lying down. Or together we'll gently roll to the left side, the inside of the body. And then with eyes closed, no need to rush. Wake your way to a seated position, palms facing down. And allow your inhale to be the count of 4 or 5. And then can your exhale be the length of 8 or 10? Breathing in for a count of 4 or 5. Small pause and then gently exhaling for 10. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 10. Really grounding breath. And if it's a little too long for you, give yourself permission to allow it to fit what your body needs. 2 more rounds here. Breathing in. Breathing out. If in doubt, just breathe it out. And then hands come to heart center. Bowing the head in gratitude for the practice. I am calm, I am grounded, I am calm, I am grounded. Namaste. So thank you so much for coming to practice today. I hope you really enjoyed it and that you're feeling sleepy and ready for bed or for a calming activity. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you have any other requests. We also have lots of digestive flows. That's sort of my point of interest, but I always think we need a little bit of grounding, a little bit of de-stress from anxiety. So thank you, and hope to see you again soon.